Hi folks, Dave Schmidt here. It's the afternoon of September 22nd, and in this weekly report I want to mention three things. First of all, I'm going to make some announcements, and then I want to do a follow-up to what I had talked about last week when I kind of put a bombshell out there about saying, hey, there isn't going to be any public exchange for your current currencies like the dinar and the dong. And then also I want to talk about, it's September 22nd. What about all that stuff that was supposed to happen? So first of all, on some practical announcements. The workshop for here in Santa Ana, California, this coming Saturday, it's sold out. We're full. After that, we are looking 2 weeks after that in October 10th in Kansas City, Missouri. I was able to acquire a different hotel facility, so we now have more room. Plenty of room for that one, okay? And then 1 week after that, here in Sedona, my hometown, on October 17th. Once I post the registration for Sedona, I would encourage you to sign up early. There's a lot of people that have showed an interest. After that, we're looking at November 7th in Minneapolis, November 21st in Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and then September 5th in Seattle. Those are the rest of the workshops for this coming year. I'll be making another plan probably next year, probably somewhere around late November, December. Now, where are we? Where are we? I said something pretty strong last week. I said, do not expect that you will ever be able to take the current currencies that you have into a bank to exchange them in a public exchange. Now, some of you really got and understood what I had to say. Some of you had raised a lot of questions. But let me clarify this. You can take currently the dong that you have and you can exchange it. And you'll get back basically what is the current going rate. You can't take the dinar into a bank because it's not yet an open tradable currency. Here's what I mean by this. We purchased this dong or dinar expecting to get a huge return on our investment. When you have a public exchange, it means the country of the currency is buying it back from you and me. If you and I had a Canadian $100 bill, we take it into the bank will exchange us and give us the equivalent of the going rate in American dollars, but really what's happening, Canada is buying that back. So Canada's putting up the money. I can tell you right now, when you bought your dinar, you paid about 1/10 of a penny for it. That is what Iraq received, about 1/10 of a penny per dinar. Do you really think they're going to turn around and give you 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 times the amount back to you of what they had bought it, what you had bought it for? Iraq isn't going to pay you a 3,000% return on a currency that you purchased from them. There is enough dinar out there that Iraq would need about over $100 trillion to buy all of the dinar out there in the open market, with the dinar valued at around $3 versus the 1/10 of a cent that it is now. Folks, that's just common sense. If Iraq had $100 trillion, they'd keep it for themselves. Why would they give that away to you? That's the issue, is what I am saying. You are not ever going to be able to take those current currencies and get this high inflated rate that we had been told and hoped for and thought we would get, because that's what the dinar gurus were reporting. Now, I reported some various reasons for that, but I'm going to tell you, that is not going to happen. Ever. Ever. Okay, now, what I also said, there are 5 private exchanges that I am aware of that are underway. This process is a process, and it takes a couple months. Do not ask me who they are. Do not ask me if you can get on their list. Do not ask me when is it going to happen, what is the rates going to be. I cannot make any comments regarding those exchanges on the internet. I just can't, okay? The other thing is, in those exchanges, they're all private exchanges, and private is private. You had to be on their list. Don't ask me how you can get on the list, because every one of those exchanges that I'm aware of, they all closed their list over 1 year ago. Personally, I'm on 2 different lists that I have never been notified for. That tells me those 2 are not one of the 5. Don't ask me who they are. I'm not going to tell you that. But here's what I can say. I'm in touch with almost all of those. I cannot comment on anything on the internet. And when I say that I can share this at the workshop, it's because I'm going to swear you to secrecy. You're not going to be able to record it, and you can't talk about it. Now, when I say you can come to my workshop and you can learn, I want to be very, very, very clear. There are no guarantees. Because you come to my workshop, it does not guarantee you are going to be able to participate in an upcoming private exchange. It does not guarantee that you will be able to exchange your currencies. And it does not guarantee that you are going to be on a list. That's what I can say. I can give you information that has a high probability. That is all I can say. So please don't think that I'm just trying to get you to the workshop so I can make money off you. Folks, if I wanted to make money, if that was my motivation, there's a lot of ways I could make a lot more money than doing these workshops. I do this because I love what I do. I do this because of the fact that it's a passion for me, and I believe that it's a life calling for me. Now, I do want to share, a week and a half when I had the Atlanta workshop, many of them had emailed back to me and said, thank you so much. Yes, you clearly shared stuff with us there that made it very clear about what is a potential, that's the key word, a potential for being able to have something down the road. I have to be very careful about what I say, and I really can't say much beyond that. I want to summarize with this. You are not going to be able to take those current currencies into a bank, into a public exchange, and be able to receive the huge high rates. Number two, you pretty much have to be on a private list because there are private exchanges that are taking place. Number three, I cannot give you any information over the internet about any of that stuff, so don't email me questions asking about it. Number four, I can share things with you at my workshop that I cannot share on the internet. It's your choice. That's why I make it available to you if you want to participate in that. Now, the next question that a lot of you had is, okay, if I can't take it into the bank, and if I'm not on any of the private lists, and if I can't get into your workshops, what good does it do for me to be holding these currencies? Remember what I've said, and I didn't address this last week, my apologies for that. The RV and the GCR are two entirely separate issues. I'm talking about an RV, a private RV situation. There is still a very high probability there's going to be a global currency reset, and those currencies that you are now holding will increase in value. Now, I'm going to tell you what is my opinion. They are not going to increase in value anywhere near to what you would get in the private exchanges. I'm going to give you an illustration. Let's take the dinar. I think it's possible that when the GCR takes place, the dinar could come out at a penny, at 10 cents, 15, 20 cents. Not much more than that. Why? Iraq has to come up with the money to buy it back. It is possible it could come out initially in a GCR on the open foreign exchange market, let's say it's 10 cents, and then over a period of some years, through the open foreign exchange market of where markets work, it could work itself up to $3.50. That's happened before in history. But a GCR is entirely separate than an RV, and don't expect a high return rate in a GCR. Because remember, Iraq has to buy it back. They have to come up with the money to pay for this higher rate. And a GCR, the value of it is based on the country's current economic status, the value of their commodity assets in conjunction with their debt and with the workforce productivity in their country. It's a formula that does all that. Don't expect some country to inflate 1,000% over where they currently are in a GCR. That just isn't going to happen, folks. Could it happen 10%, 50%? A few countries like Iraq and Vietnam, possibly yes. Other countries are going to drop in value, like the United States. So I hope this brings a clarification, okay? Now, what else am I going to talk about on the radio program? A couple of months ago, we had all been focusing on what we thought was a probable crash here in the month of September. Things were pointing to that, and that wasn't just me. I was quoting a number of very credible economic resources and economic people from Wall Street that were saying the same thing. And if you noticed, We haven't had a crash. Yes, the stock market has dropped about 10 to 12%. That's normal. That is a normal correction that a stock market goes through about every 2 years. And we had had a stock market that had been in a bubble and it hadn't done it for 4. So yes, it's possible we may see a further drop in the stock market. But in my estimation, what has happened is the powers of be have put this on hold. And I think next week is going to be a very key indicator. Because see, next week, almost all the major world leaders and the Pope are meeting at the United Nations. And these are the people that carry a lot of weight in the financial aspects of what happens in our world. These are the leaders of the G7 countries, and if you understand the real power of the Pope and the real power of the Catholic Church and the real power of the Vatican Bank, they carry a lot of weight in world economics, but it's all in what I call in the shadow area behind the scenes. They could possibly decide it's time to have a shift and a change because we know that the world basically is not sustainable in where it is now. Or they could possibly say we're going to continue to move forward and continue to kick the can down the road, and there isn't going to be any immediate changes until we the people begin to step up and demand those changes. It's really hard to say what's going to happen. Do I still believe there's going to be basically an economic crash? Absolutely. It's inevitable. It's not a question of if. It's only a matter of when they can no longer continue kicking the can down the road. And I've outlined that in a couple of videos and newsletters that I did back in June. You can go back to my YouTube my YouTube page, Dave Schmidt, and you can look at those there, or you can go to my website and you can scroll down to where those newsletters are and you can take a look at those there. We seem to be placed in a position where the can's been kicked down the road, but there is a possibility some things might shift next week. Also, I had said all the way back in May that the ambassador said the key was to look for the Chinese yuan becoming a part of the basket of the reserve currencies. That was scheduled to be on the agenda for the IMF in October. They shifted that all the way out till next year. So that's another sign the can is being kicked down the road. We don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of different speculation. You can get all kinds of reports on both sides of the issue, and you can get a number of different opinions. Right now, until I see something that is hard and concrete in its evidence, most of it is just chatter. But I would still do the things that you need to do to prepare for a shift and change that's coming our way, because the shift and change is coming our way. Okay? Thank you very much. Would love to have you join me on the radio program tomorrow night. You can call in with your questions and your comments, or just listen in. Love all of you. Have an absolutely great week. Thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye.